The second thing that I would tell you is incumbent recruiting. It's not really known, but if you really get deep into your acquisition, dealing with the attorneys on the other side of the fence, they're looking for low risk. They're not looking for risk. And they know that transition and mobilization is one of those areas that is extremely difficult, right? And they don't want that risk, because if mobilization and transition becomes a problem, it ends up back on their plate. So incumbent capture is critical. And incumbent capture, I would tell you, is so critical that it hits all aspects of your company. If you're going to build a solution, and I know because I deal with 16 companies, if I'm going to build a solution, I go to my engineers, I go, I've got the best engineers in the world. But in a fixed firm price environment, it's much more difficult. It's not like a time and materials environment where they tell you exactly the hours and what the labor categories are. That's going to be really your CPARs and down to rates. But in a fixed firm price environment, there's a lot less information, and now you have to figure out how many people, what are the work groups if I'm going to build out this solution, and how many people do I need down to the subtask levels, down to a level 4 in your WBS? What are the subtask levels? Because that's what they're asking for. They're asking for you to tell them a conceptual operation of how you're going to operate this contract. I see so many people that swag proposals with a lot of lofty language and an organization chart that's at a level 1 or a level 2. You're not going to get through. You're just not going to get through with that. So it's got to be down to a level 4. So how do we get that? We have to recruit incumbent personnel. People who know, people who are working on the contract. Now the laws lately, in the last 10 years, have really changed on that. Obama changed the law, and I think most people understand there's no more non-compete, right? So they've really opened up the doors for you to be able to talk to the incumbent personnel. But that's not easy either. Try to go to the IC world, get inside and talk to incumbent people. It's not easy, but it can be done, and we're doing it. So the aspect of recruiting incumbent key personnel solves so many problems across your entire organization, right? I used to give these challenges to our engineers. I give them the PWS, and I would go over there and I would say, hey, develop a solution. What I get back is 10,000 questions about the environment, which I didn't know. I didn't know what the questions were. So we had to begin recruiting to find people that did know the answer to those questions. Really, really key, really, really important. But it also solved problems across our entire organization. Technical, pricing, certainly the way the LCATs will be divided up against our partners and their past performance, because all of that ties in, right? Past performance ties into the PWS. So really, really important. So it is a scientific equation, and it's a puzzle, and it has to be solved. I would argue that incumbent recruiting will give you a big leg up on solving that puzzle. And so the last one, as I told you before, which is on the mind of most my buyers, is that if they don't see our ads running, if they don't see us talking to them in depth about that contract, not asking for help, because that's what they get a lot of. They're not looking to help. Their mission is to solve by giving a solution, a top-notch solution. So what they're looking for you is to communicate on how to solve that problem or bring innovation to it. And that's what's really important. So incumbent recruiting is a part of that. So here's what some of the mapping of programs, these are systems that we built, they're custom-built systems. They sit on an 18-month, and the critical life cycle is 120 days. So we look at programs that are 18 months out, and then we finish up with a 120-day critical process map. There's our steps. So we have a gate step task. Gates are the decision, steps the process with the tasks that lay underneath it. CPARs, which you see there, are important. So when we gap the program and we get the best players with excellent CPARs and PPQs, but mostly CPARs, right? Government has a database on CPAR. They do not have a database on PPQ. And I know people get upset about that, but it's a fact. So having CPARs is important. And it does tell them, what does CPAR say? That you're managing a program. You're the prime. right? A PPQ tells me you're following a prime, right? You're a sub. Very, very important to your story, how you write your executive summary, how you position your story, how you talk to your customer. So if you look at the interested parties up in the right-hand corner, in our system, we get companies that register. So when we gap the companies, we're able then to solidify the team based on the CPARs and begin the journey. Now, down there you'll see Mary Dent. And you see how many programs are underneath Mary Dent's name? That's because she's our buyer, right? And I want to do 5 or 6 opportunities with Mary Dent. Is going to win one of them, at least one of them, right? But I got to develop a relationship with her. So when I say take it down to the buyer's level through the forecast, that's exactly what I'm telling you. And then apply your subject matter experts, which are your incumbent staff. If you do that, you're going to have some pretty good outcomes. So how do we get the incumbent staff? So it's a lot of hard work. We have a process that we go through with our recruiters, and our recruiters are specifically trained. This is not recruiting like online people. This is like executive recruiting, right? We're recruiting the managers for the contract, the actual in-depth knowledge people, generally the incumbents people, that are being managed and hired for that contract. We do that through an interview process where we take them through a deep dive in the PWS to understand their knowledge and gain knowledge ourselves. So we're interviewing over and over and over again to gain knowledge. And we're building out that incumbent staff as far as we can. If we do that properly, we're going to have a very deep understanding. And now I can talk to my buyer. And the buyer then is going to get so comfortable, they're going to walk us over to the program shop and they're going to say, program shop, you need to be talking to these guys, right? Very important, very different approach from entrepreneurialism. It's a very scientific approach. It's a disciplined approach. Okay, let's move forward.